blockchain startup in the State Formation Date Awards of Telangana government. He is making registered chit funds more accessible, credible and rewarding, powered by blockchain. So now I would request Mr. Pavan Adipuram to give us a brief about this project, and what we'll do is we have about half an hour for this session. So we'll give 20 minutes for the demonstration and 10 minutes for question answers. Okay, so over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so ma'am has said that we have 20 minutes for the demonstration. So we'll spend some time in terms of understanding how we have actually, I'll take 5 minutes to explain the use case first. I think fundamentally more than the demo, I think what we need to probably appreciate, especially in the blockchain space, is the use case relevance, right? I'm sure I think you are actually kind of gone through a lot of blockchain related discussions already from the morning sessions, as I understand from the organizers here. So first thing first, how many of you understand what is the chit fund here? No? Okay. So chit fund is more of a group savings kind of instrument. We call it as, in North it is more, it goes by the name BC or committee. If you are from north side of this India, then probably you would have heard about BCs or committees, where people come together and start a group, pool money, and one of them take the so you probably know by BCs, right? So it's exactly that. But in this part of the country, Telangana, not just Telangana, in India, registered chit fund business is a legal way of doing business, which means to say BCs or committees, which you probably would have heard, is more of an unregulated way of doing business. Basically, anybody can start a BC and then join people from friends and families and get there, right? But in a registered way of doing business, there is a private limited company which is responsible for doing this activity. Okay, so this entire business is kind of governed by a Chit Fund Act, the Central Government Act, which is called as Chit Fund Act of 1982, which governs the principles of how the chit fund business should be run by the private limited companies. So we are actually today, our business case, our blockchain solution is more in terms of working with these registered chit fund companies and the entire ecosystem. So I'll just give you one, maybe a user story for you to correlate what they're talking and how blockchain actually fits the use case, right? Let's say, like I said, there is a subscriber who have joined a company for doing a chit group. So the company has decided to start a group, and they have pooled about, say, 30 people or 40 people, right? And once a subscriber joined the group, from there, the activity is simple, right? He transfers the money from his account to the chit fund company. Like that, there are 40 transactions happening into the group, and one person will be awarded that money based on the auction conducted, right? And auction, whoever wins the auction, they will be given the money. Now, in the whole process, let's look at one step at a time, right? The chit fund company subscriber when goes and says, okay, I wanted to join a group, then the chit fund company has to have a registered chit group, which means to say they should actually talk to the regulator, the state government body regulator, and say, hey, I am a private limited company. I am eligible to run chit groups of worth, say, X crores, and this is my application to start for a 10 lakh group. That is how it starts. So, what we will be looking at here is, right, what you are seeing on the screen is more of a, for your reference, that is the dashboard for Telangana government, which is, we call it as T-Chits. The dashboard is real time, which means to say you are seeing about 650 companies operating on the platform already, about 1340 branches, close to 15,000 groups, 14,905 groups are running, which means these are all groups, which are, and it all accounts to about 1100 crores of business. What you see on the dashboard today, as we speak, is 1100 crores of money is getting collected and getting disbursed every month. Now imagine the kind of trust which has to be built into a system like that, right? So the transaction goes like this. When we are talking about the demo, right? I mean the use case part, right? A subscriber who comes pays the money to the chit fund company. Like that, there are 40 transactions coming into the group. Now, after the auction is completed, the money is supposed to be given to the subscriber. Now, all this activity is supposed to be reported to the chit fund regulator every month. Okay, there is a rule by the department when chit fund act which says every month the reporting should be done by the chit fund company to the regulator on this lines. Now, what goes into the report is, I have conducted an auction in this month. In this, there are 5 people who have participated. In this 5 people, 1 person has won the auction, and my previous month subscriber, who was awarded as the prize subscriber, that day got the money, and I paid the money. That is the declaration given by the chit fund company. Now, imagine if this transaction has happened only on a declaration basis, which means to say the chit fund company is just declaring that, okay, I have done these things and this is my statement to you, and the regulator has no way to verify whether the subscriber has really participated, those 5 people have really participated or not, and participated people may whoever has won the auction, whether he has got the money or not. I mean, where is the consensus coming from? There is no consensus. It's more of a declaration coming from the chit fund company. That's why it is more of a reactive system, right? I mean, today when you look at the chit fund business or the regulatory aspects of it, it is more of a chit fund, more of a reactive system. So if something goes wrong, then only the department or anybody will go back and check. Okay, hey, what went wrong? I need to find out whether this happened from the beginning of the group or when, right? I mean, that's the fundamental thing. Now, quickly, I'll show you the. So this is a real-time dashboard what you guys are seeing on the board, which is more in terms of telling that the operational dashboard of the regulator. So which means to say, any chit fund company which is actually looking to start a group, they will kind of apply an application called PSO. I mean, this is the dashboard what you can see, right? It's more like, this is the statewide view of the entire chit fund activity happening in the state, which means to say an IG who's sitting in the IG office probably will have access to the information that, in which part of the state what group is running and who are the subscribers in that, and whether the previous month subscribers have been paid money on time or not. If they have not paid money, what is happening to that money? I mean, the collected money should be deposited into a separate account. There is an act which governs that, right? So all this activity, what you see, can be monitored from one location. So the demo part, if you see, right? I mean, this is more like a PSO application. I mean, I will probably. So every chit fund company will have, this is by the way a private permission blockchain solution, which means to say every entity which is coming into the system is kind of verified and onboarded into the system. It is not a public blockchain we are talking about, it's a private blockchain. So each entity, which means the chit fund company, will be validated by the regulator before coming into the system. Once the chit fund company is verified and authorized, then he will be given access to a system like this. That's a dashboard. This is a dev environment. We won't have access to the Foreman application in the prod, right? So this is how it looks like for them. So as a chit fund company, I will be given option to apply for all the applications online only, which means to say the department kind of have made it mandate for all the chit fund companies to come on to this platform to get their permissions and reporting activities as well. So first thing first, when the chit fund company starts the chit fund process, the first thing what they do is go and apply for a PSO application. So open the PSO application. They will give all the required details. It's more designed more of a workflow kind of scenario. So it's like this. So chit details, let's say I want to start a 5 lakh 40 month group, and the value is 5 lakhs. It goes up to 2 lakhs as a maximum bid, and then 25,000 rupees as a commission. So he gives all these details. He will, all these parameters are important for when the company is starting the chit group. And what essentially happens at this point of time is we are in the background, we are creating chit group as a digital asset. So in blockchain, what is more important is creating the digital assets and tracking them back to back, right? I mean, I should be able to, make sure it is completely immutable, and whatever goes into the blockchain should happen through a consensus policy defined. So this implementation, what we have done in Telangana, and we are now going to do it across other states as well, is primarily divided into 3 phases. First phase is more in terms of, bringing the entire regulatory aspects of the chit fund business, between the interactions between the chit fund company and the regulator into the network first, and then slowly the network will expand to subscribers, banks, auditors, and any third party providers who wants to be part of this network. So it is completely designed as a permission private blockchain solution only. Okay. So the asset part, when I'm talking about the assets in digital assets in blockchain, here the important aspect for chit fund business is this chit group as an asset. What is happening with the chit group is one thing. The second asset is more in terms of subscribers who are participating in the chit group. So any subscriber who have joined the group, left the group, replaced or removed, all such kind of things, all subscriber activities can be tracked into a separate asset. And then auction is another asset, which means to say every month there is an auction conducted in a group, right? So once the auction is conducted, what is happening in that auction is getting recorded into the blockchain, and that kind of gets tracked, throughout the life cycle of the chit period. And all this information, what we are talking, will be available at a single click, basically, which means to say, I will be able to check all the subscriber list, transfers. This is the dashboard, let's say. I'm just opening one. So this is how it looks like. So the entire basic details of the chit group will be available here, and the subscribers present in the group, whether they are price subscriber or non-price subscriber, which means whether they have got money or they have not got money. And any auction minutes related to that group can be shown here, all the details. Transfers related to that, all of this will be coming from the world state database of the blockchain, which means to say we will be maintaining the way we have designed that is we'll have a world state database and we'll have a blockchain database. All this application access will be coming from the world state database, and which is kind of near real time to the blockchain. So that's more of a asset. I mean, how we are actually designed the system. I mean, if you have any questions, I think I'll be happy to answer your questions more than I think I can go on give the demo of the entire life cycle of the chit group, right from application 1 to maybe the entire thing. You have any particular question?
Yeah. So we'd like to know how exactly a blockchain concept has
Design
and what exactly it is, because we don't know anything about blockchain and we have just heard the name.
Okay.
So what exactly you did, how the concept has been taken, and in other application how blockchain can do magic, whatever.
Absolutely. Okay. So think of it this way. I mean, blockchain is more in terms of I would say digitizing the trust. So let's say there are about 5 parties. So we'll not take a bigger definition of it. Let's talk about 5 parties who are doing business together. Now today, the most of the administrative rules which we kind of set up, whether it is SCBI or anything, even I mean, to my example, the chit fund regulator who is actually playing the role of an intermediary is only the role of that intermediary is only to establish the trust between the parties who are doing business. Are you all with me? Yes? Which means to say, See, today the chit fund company is saying that I am doing business with the subscriber, and chit fund subscriber has joined the chit fund company. But how do I make sure that the business is happening in the right spirit? Subscriber has no trust on the chit fund company, which means to say, I have a trust in joining it, but I don't know whether the auctions are conducting in the right spirit or not, whether the payments are whether payments are getting paid on the right time or not. There's so many aspects to the way the business is run, right? Now, so for subscriber, it is important, it is important to know how this company is running business. So they said, sir, I want to do chit fund with this company, but I want somebody to verify. You can actually link the same thing to your banking transactions also. Let's say I want to send money to you, right? Now, I have a bank account and you have a bank account, right? I can simply transfer, I could have directly sent the money from my bank to your bank if there is a digital channel established between both of our banks. But that is not happening. If you see, every transfer is happening through Reserve Bank of India. That means to say, if you understand the financial transaction part of it, right? The check part of it. Let's say I give a check of 5,000 rupees to you. What is happening? You are going and depositing in your bank. From there, the checks will be will be going to the Reserve Bank of India, NCC. We call it as clearing center, National Clearing Center. It will go there and the checks will be sorted out, and then they will be kind of labeled across individual banks. Let's say I have given a bank of ICICI Bank check, right? Now, how the settlement will happen? Reserve Bank of India is coming in between and saying, from ICICI Bank, end of the day, credit this much, debit this much, based on the total number of checks received by the ICICI Bank and issued by the ICICI Bank. It is not happening at the individual level. Though it looks like, even if they are doing today UPI transfer, right? It looks like, it appears as if the money is transferring from my account to you instantly. But what is actually happening is, NCC, the transaction goes to the National Financial Switch, which is more of a Reserve Bank it is under control of Reserve Bank of India. So Reserve Bank of India do the settlement next day. So the money is debiting my account and crediting your account, but the actual settlements happen only next day. That is the role of an intermediary, right? Reserve Bank of India is coming in between and saying that, hey Pawan, you don't worry, you give the check, I will honor the check, and I will make sure your bank is paying the money to the other bank. Similarly, there are multiple scenarios, especially in the administration part of it. In fact, all of you, basically most of the government services are nothing but intermediary services. Right? Reserve Bank of India talked about this one, what we are doing with registration department. Registrations and stamps department. If you think of registrations and stamps department, what is actually happening? I am buying a property and I am actually registering the document through your department. You are a registrations and stamps department. What is registrations and stamps department doing? It is only telling that I have verified your credentials, I have verified your credentials, and I am registering a document in good faith between both of you. That's the role of an intermediary, right? Blockchain actually has the power to reduce the dependency on the intermediary. Please look at it from that angle. Whenever you are thinking of applying a use case in blockchain, always think of this scenario. Can the intermediary activities which your department or which any department is doing, can it be reduced? Can it be outsourced to the digital part of it? Can it be outsourced to the computer to take care of it? In our case, whatever the verification and validation which needs to be done on a particular transaction, which has to be verified by the Chit Fund Act. There are 10 rules defined in the Chit Fund Act, which means to say this company should not exceed 10 times of your net worth funds when they are running the business. Now that verification can be done by manual, or I write a piece of code which will verify that whenever a transaction is coming, I will verify whether this transaction is falling into that purview or not, right? So essentially what we are trying to do, what blockchain will try to do is, right, reduce the dependency of intermediation, disintermediation of the transaction. That is the biggest use case of blockchain. fundamentally. Am I confused you, or is it making any sense? Making sense, right? So let me know, I mean that's the fundamental thing. I mean, it's more of, always think of it that way. If you are actually playing the role of an intermediary in your administrative activities, can we apply blockchain there? Again, it's all about, you know, how many parties are involved also. If there are only 2 parties involved between the transaction, I don't need a blockchain for it. If there are multiple parties involved, right, there is a bank, there is a subscriber, there is a chit fund company, there is an auditor, then there is a third-party service providers which are coming into the play. If there are so many players coming in and they want to do business in a trustless manner, then there can be a good use case for blockchain. Okay?
What is the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain?
Thank you for asking. So fundamentally, what we all were exposed, we were exposed to blockchain through Bitcoin. If you can, if I have to give you a, facsimile, I mean an example, right? Blockchain is your Android phone. You have an Android phone or iOS? Android. Blockchain is like your Android software, and Bitcoin is an app on the software. As simple as that. Bitcoin has nothing to do with blockchain. Bitcoin is using blockchain to transfer the money. The exact use case what we just discussed about money transfers is what the problem, what the Bitcoin is trying to solve. Bitcoin is saying, I don't need a Reserve Bank of India to transfer money from my account to your account. I have digital currency in my wallet, in my purse, and I know where the money should go. Why should Reserve Bank of India come in between? I will transfer the money to you. But the only challenge is, when I am doing this, I don't want, I mean, you want to be very sure that the 1 rupee or 100 rupees which I am giving it to you in a digital world is the same, is not the same money which I probably would have given to him also. The double spend, the problem of double spending. You know, which means to say, I'm not taking from the same wallet and giving the same money to, it's a digital currency. We are talking about Bitcoin is more of a digital currency. It's a cryptocurrency, they call it as cryptocurrency. But essentially what it is doing is, I am not trying to go to Reserve Bank of India to settle the transaction. I can transfer the money from my wallet to your wallet without any intermediary. And the trade will happen like that in the entire Bitcoin network. Imagine there are like millions of people using Bitcoin, and today I have Bitcoins and you have Bitcoin exchange. I mean, I don't have to pay you money in rupees. I will pay you in Bitcoin for whatever the transaction I'm doing. Let's say I'm buying your old phone from you, and or I'm selling my old phone. Why do I have to take money in rupees? Both of us decided that I will trade it in Bitcoin. So that is what is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not equal to blockchain. Like I said, simple. Imagine this is your straightforward thing, right? Similar to that, there are so many other applications which can be used on blockchain, and one is T-chips and chipmunks. Any questions, sir?
By introducing your system of this chipmunk, what will be the level of reduction of corruption in the chip fund network?
Sir, one is I will not promise any corruption reduction. I mean, I'm not here to reduce the corruption. What I'm here is, I'm actually trying to bring the discipline in the chit fund activities. If you ask me, how many people will you protect from cheating? Let's say there are 100 people who are getting cheated in chit fund business. What is cheating from chit fund business? It's more like, I was supposed to get money in 30 days when I become the price subscriber, but I am not getting money, and the money which was supposed to be given to me is actually siphoned for some other reasons. Chit fund company has lot of money, collecting lot of money on behalf of subscribers. Imagine if I am running a 10 lakh group, one 10 lakh group, I am collecting 10 lakh rupees from 40 people in this group, in this room. Now I have 10 lakhs, access to 10 lakhs. It is not my money, it is all of your money. I was supposed to give money to one of you. How much money? 7,50,000 rupees was supposed to be given. Next 2.5 lakh rupees is supposed to be given to the rest of them as dividend. Okay. Now that 7.5 lakh rupees which was supposed to be given to you, I can probably use it until I give that money to you. What I can do, what I can promise is, I will make sure that 7.5 lakh rupees is not going anywhere. It is going and sitting in a table, in a account, and which is completely traceable. So, in terms of what you probably hear more in chit fund business, that one company would have siphoned a lot of money and taken off, right? I hope it will. I mean, I definitely feel it will reduce. Number one, primarily because of two reasons. One is, like I said, I am able to track all of that. Apart from that, I will also be proactive in giving a flag to the regulator, saying that, sir, something is going wrong in this company. The money is supposed to be, which is supposed to be given to the subscriber on time, is not happening. Minutes are not getting filed on time. The transfers are not happening on time. Reporting is not happening on time. That is something which I can actually give a flag to the regulator. Now, regulator has to act on it. That is a proactive system which I can actually promise. So, in fact, I mean, just to give you a picture of the way typically the business looks like, right? So, this is how the typical, any regulator register office. In fact, this is much organized way of doing chit fund business from a regulator office. The biggest challenge for regulators is completely inefficient process today. We have everything in file system. There is no system. It's a reactive system, which means to say after something goes wrong, I'm actually going and figuring out what went wrong. But in our case, it will be a proactive system. What we are offering to the chit fund regulator, is completely proactive system. This is what we say. It's more of a blockchain enabled system. So our vision is to make investments in chit funds completely accessible, credible, and rewarding. How are we doing that? We are by building a blockchain network which is completely driven on consensus, which means to say, whenever there is a chit fund company saying I have paid money to for extra subscriber, I will make sure that the subscriber has received money, then only I will approve the transaction. Today it is more of a declaration, but tomorrow a subscriber will come back and say, hey, I have received the money, so it's okay. That is the kind of consensus we are bringing in. And of course, I mean, the biggest part is the immutability and finality of the transaction, right? So once the transaction sits into the blockchain, it is final. That is happening through a consensus process. Technical challenges, operational challenges. Okay. See, two ways. One is the technology challenges and one is the operational challenges. Operational challenges, as you can imagine, we are working with the government departments, so it's again a state subject. We are trying to see if we can actually have a central level discussion about these things and see how we can actually take it forward. That's more of the operational thing. Second big thing is, of course, training the chit fund companies, right? I mean, this is not a mere simple task, because chit fund companies or BCs who are running, they're completely unorganized. They don't have access to system, and most of the operators who are running these businesses are either 10th class passed or very aged, 40 plus age group owners. So it's a challenge in terms of operations. From technology perspective, I think we are good. We are using Hyperledger Fabric, which is an enterprise level grade, and it is completely interoperable, which means to say tomorrow if there's a new system coming in, this system can actually talk to that system without any problems. So it is an evolving architecture though, but yeah, we are fine with what we are doing actually.
See, you are using any specific, using any specific software tools to develop this OS? You are saying like that it's in blockchain is like Android OS, like that.
Hyperledger Fabric, sir.
It's a OS.
You can think of it, the equivalent of blockchain. Like I said, blockchain is an Android operating system, right? Something similar to that. Our operating system is Hyperledger.
It's an open source?
It's an open source, IBM. There are so many organizations which are contributing into Hyperledger. So when we are working with the departments, we are clear, we want to be more open, as open as possible. So it's an open source software.
So far, there is no specific OS like patent like that.
Hyperledger, sir?
Like only Hyperledger.
Hyperledger, sir. See, the Ethereum, I mean, if you know Ethereum, Bitcoin is one other software kind of thing only. I'm just saying Bitcoin or Bitcoin network can be an operating system kind of scenario. Ethereum, I mean, see, it's an idea. As a startup, I can only think of solutions to a problem. But when it comes to implementation, I definitely need the blessing of government and all. So definitely government's role is a big role in this. I mean, they have played a big role. They trusted us in building the system for them and doing the pilot for them as well.
Security wise, what you are taking this care, because all these financial things will be controlled by this third party.
No.
Then
No.
who will have that power?
Government will have their own node, and then second is at the operating system level, OS level, and then one at the hard disk level.
It's Hyperledger Fabric is a platform just like Java is based on Java node, and OS wise it can be run on Windows also and Linux also. The entire concept of blockchain is that the entire database will be with all the permission node holders. Basically, it's a permission blockchain. There are permissionless blockchain also. So in the entire concept is that it will be with all the people around, and it is so secure that there's no chances. Basically, it's cryptographed. The way we have it is basically with the RSA algorithm. Entire thing is encoded. The way the algorithm we are using digital signature. So that's why it's highly secure.
See, it's more like, imagine it this way. Let's say in this diagram, if you see there are 6 entities, five different entities. The consensus policy, which means to say when a transaction goes and sits into the database, will be defined by the transaction rule defined by the in the system. Let's say a auction minute supposed to be recorded into the blockchain. In that auction minute, who has to sign that transaction? All the subscribers who have participated should say, I have participated. Then only the transaction should go and sit into it. And when this happens, and there will be some piece of logic which smart contracts, we call smart contracts, which will be running across all the nodes. And the consensus policy can be defined in such a way that 51%, I mean typically in Bitcoin network you will probably also hear this, 51% of the nodes should say that, this is valid transaction. Then only it will go and sit into the transaction. It's not like, one single node says, yeah, I am fine. I mean, if let's say I have access to this system and I write some piece of code and say, okay, whenever this transaction comes, put it into the blockchain, okay, I've written some code and deployed it. Let's say it's not possible. Let's say I'm done with it. Okay. Even then, that is not accepted because rest of the nodes will all reject the transaction because it is not falling into that rule. So that blockchain is by design more secure than any other applications in the world. By design, I'm not saying they're not completely hackable. People are working very, very hard to crack, Bitcoin networks and all, but it's very, very difficult.
How do you verify? These means automatically the blockchain fetches the data from different stakeholders, or what exactly?
Correct. So I was just touched upon that point in between. I was saying there is one database called World State Database, and there is something called blockchain database. All the applications typically access the World State Database, which kind of syncs into the blockchain database in a real time. 99.99% real time it will be synced. Accessing the data from blockchain can be done, but it will be very time consuming. If you want performance, you will have to do it with the real time database, the World State Database. That's more of a technology. Thank you all. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, Pawan, for a very interesting session.